Alright, with Conor McGregor's return seeming more and more closer by the day, Conor McGregor is once again posting some new training footage that I wanted to take a look at because I thought it was interesting right off the bat, because it worries me, right? Because we have seen Conor McGregor in these last few years go towards a boxing style, right? And we saw him pay for that massively in his rematch with Dustin Poirier in that second fight where, let's be honest, Dustin Poirier caught him a lot with those calf kicks because he was so heavy on that lead leg, and it also just hurt a lot of the weapons that make Conor McGregor good. Like, his kicking game is still very, very strong. Knocked out Donald Cerrone with a high kick, and although that left hand shot is his perfect shot, he uses those kicks to kind of help disguise the left hand coming and kind of confuse his opponent. So while I think he doesn't necessarily get finishes based on his kicks, it definitely helps disguise it, and that's why a boxing style McGregor is not good when entering a fight with Michael Chandler, which I think will be on UFC 300. John Kavanaugh did do an interview with Ariel Helwani stating that, you know, it looks like summer. However, Ariel did say recently in an interview, and not a lot of people picked up on this, I saw on O'Malley's podcast, that he said that he is hearing that 300 might be back on, and that's the last thing we've heard about it.
Go ahead.
You were going to say something. Didn't you just hear John Kavanaugh say no?
Yeah.
Yes. On my show.
Yeah.
But I've heard since that maybe plans are changing, so
I just think it makes sense based scheduling wise. Like, what else is going to really headline that UFC 300 card? So before I react to this training footage, I want to remind you guys that the subscribe button, like, comment, and share. We're trying to hit 20K by the end of the year. You guys are the best fan base in MMA, so I know you guys are going to help me with that goal. And yeah, without further ado, I'm excited to take a look at this. I thought about it, I wanted to show you guys, and yeah, let's get into it and see what it means for Conor McGregor's future. Alright, so as you guys can see, Conor McGregor uploaded 4 videos to his Twitter account. Right now it's pinned, I believe. You guys can go check this out yourself, but he's just doing some pad work, and normally there isn't a lot to take away. But right off the bat, as you can see, look, Conor McGregor is more of a square stance, right? Which is more closer to a boxing stance. This is more of the stance that he had in that Dustin Poirier fight, the second one. And that worries me a lot because a guy like Michael Chandler that has wrestling, that also, you know, he has been using leg kicks in his most recent fight, a guy that will 100% mix it up against Conor McGregor, he cannot look at this like an easy matchup. Even though I have been saying for a while, I think that the Michael Chandler fight is an ideal matchup for Conor McGregor, you can't look at it like that because you never know, because Chandler is good. He almost just beat Dustin Poirier in that last fight. So do not take Michael Chandler lightly because he has power. He can change the fight at any moment. So as you can see, look, this is Conor. You know, he's only working boxing. Clearly, he's throwing a left hand to the body and a right hook upstairs. Now, besides they're obviously showing Conor McGregor's power, what you're going to see in a lot of this training is body work, right? Which is what I expect them to use on Michael Chandler. I expect them to attack the body a lot. That seems to be their game plan. They did it against Chad Mendes, and they have been saying for a while that is a similar style matchup, and it is true. Both very powerful. Both guys have wrestler type bodies. Both guys are pretty short, and if he fights Chandler like he fought Chad Mendes, I think he will beat Michael Chandler. However, that was now 8 years ago and a whole leg break ago, right? This is Conor McGregor's first return, so it's not going to be as easy as it was fighting Chad Mendes. And I do like the body shots. I don't think that maybe you should go with punches, maybe more teep kicks. I'm going to go into that a little bit later, but you guys are going to see a lot of body shots in this training compilation that he's kind of put out. As you guys can see, he's throwing a left hand to the body and then a right hook upstairs. Now, this is definitely a boxing combination, right? We don't really see this so much in MMA. We mostly see it from guys that transition, like Alex Pereira does throw a lot of straight shots to the body, tries to throw it to the chest. The reason I don't think this will work against Michael Chandler is simply because Michael Chandler is the type of guy that does back up when heavy shots are being thrown at him. Chandler isn't going to stay there for that counter. I actually went back to look at Michael Chandler's fight with Dustin Poirier, since Poirier is a southpaw, and you can see a similar shot is thrown, and as you can see, he just backs up because that seems to be Michael Chandler's main defense, and we're going to get into later. There are a lot of shots that Conor does throw that I think are going to be very hurtful to Michael Chandler, but this just isn't one of them. I get it, you know, train boxing, train the punches, train the power. I'm not taking this 100% serious. I don't think that this necessarily is for Michael Chandler. This just seems to be kind of just helping him get back in the flow of things, but overall I still think he's just kind of working on boxing. Now, how much is he working on boxing? That is more of my concern, but I'm going to get into that at the end of the video. Now, this next video is a classic McGregor shot. Left hand to the body. We're going to see this again. Left hand to the body and a right, or left hand I should say, to the head. We saw him throw this against Dustin Poirier multiple times in their fight, in that second fight, of course, the fight that he lost. And I just think this is rather interesting because, to me, body shots, you're gonna have to land those in close. And I'm gonna get in the end of the video what I think McGregor's game plan should be, but I think McGregor should probably want to be a little bit wider, want to be a little bit longer against Michael Chandler. So I think these body shots aren't going to be open for him, and like I said, I'm not trying to take this serious. I'm not trying to investigate this footage and say, hey, we're gonna find out the winner from this, but I'm just saying I don't think that that's going to be a shot that's gonna be be there against Michael Chandler. Could be wrong. It's going to be risky, but we'll see. Now, this third one is the most realistic in my opinion. I think this is one that Michael Chandler really has to watch out for, because as I'm about to show you guys, I found a lot of times in Michael Chandler's fighting where the shot is available. Like, this is definitely a very, very dangerous punch from Conor McGregor, and especially how hard he hits him. You could hear it from, I mean, I don't know how loud it is for you guys, to be honest, but you could hear the pure power that he's hitting with these pads. So we're gonna get into this now. As you can see, look, he throws. I like this a lot because people tend to throw typically, you know, 1, 2, you know, back and forth, you know, 1, 2, 3, you know, you throw the 2, you throw the other hand. A lot of sneaky combinations are when you use that same hand. We're gonna see Conor McGregor use that now. All right, we're gonna see here. All right, McGregor's gonna throw to the body, a nice hook to the body, left hook, and then he's gonna bring it back, and he does it too fast. I can't even pause it, but he throws a right hand, right? And Conor McGregor slips it perfectly, because this is a drill to be fair, but he slips it perfectly and comes back with a big left hand. It kind of lands on the forearm of this guy, so hopefully his forearm's all right. But this could also be kind of an indication of a little bit of, I don't mean to be ridiculous, but a little bit of the ring rust. You know, he's missing the pads and things like that. The accuracy might not just be there 100%, but I think I might be looking into things a little too much by saying that. But point is, though, I wanted to bring this up because this is a shot that is there for Michael Chandler, especially when he throws those big right hands. I'm about to show you guys right now, Dustin Poirier. I mean, in that fight, there was tons of times where Dustin Poirier could have backed him and threw a big left hand. Now, that's just not Poirier style. He mostly throws like hooks. He doesn't really throw like so many straight shots as often. Of course, he does throw straight shots, but mostly when he's hurting people, it's with hooks. But this is McGregor's, you know, famous shot, that left hand shot, and it's definitely going to be there. And especially when you have a guy like Michael Chandler that kind of can be a little telegraphic, especially when he's tired, and he gets tired pretty quick, which we're gonna get into later. That shot is there, all right. And I've just shown you guys, you know, all the other examples. Like if he lands that, and this is like not even like, oh, this is opening. Like, no, this is McGregor's shot. Like we've seen him do this time and time again against Eddie Alvarez, against Jose Aldo, where they come with that right hand and he just backs up and throws that left hand. It is so instinctual for Conor that it's very dangerous for Chandler. And this one is just a drill, like body shots, and you know, this one's just pretty much just a drill. Obviously, you wouldn't throw, you know, just two body shots in a row naked with nothing in front of it. But that is the Conor McGregor training footage that we have, and I thought it was an interesting look because as we see a lot of these times and a lot of the shots that we're seeing, I mean, it's coming from a Conor McGregor boxing stance. It was really problematic against Dustin Poirier. I hope he's not looking into this because when we see, you know, behind the scenes of that Dustin Poirier rematch, he was looking at that as a warm-up for Manny Pacquiao. And another thing I wonder is Conor McGregor has 2 fights left on his UFC contract. Is any part of him want to leave the UFC and do some boxing like a lot of other people are doing right now? Because is he just looking at this Michael Chandler fight like a warm-up to exiting his UFC contract to finally box? Because to be fair, you know, like Michael Chandler isn't exactly a big kicking guy, but he has used leg kicks in some of his recent fights, so I do think it's going to be there, but we don't really see him throwing like high kicks. Could he mix it up? Of course, but we don't really see him doing that. And so just trying to get into Conor's mind, like is he looking at this kind of like a boxing match, then he also has to have some takedown defense? Because that's not at all going to be the case, because if he thinks like that, he's going to get in big trouble. But the way I see this fight, I think that there's 2 methods for Conor McGregor to win. I think he could either chase Michael Chandler, or he can make Chandler go first and counter. Now, personally, I've been saying this for a while, I think Conor's better going backwards. I think that that would probably be the better game plan against Michael Chandler, and I think he could probably get a really cool knockout that way, especially when you look at how hard he's throwing these left hands, man. I mean, it's crazy. He's a lot bigger now, too. He's probably going to hit harder. But my point is, he could, one, chase Michael Chandler. Now, Chandler's main defense, as I mentioned before, it is going backwards. So a lot of these boxing shots, if he's going to come into this with a boxing stance, his game plan has to be chasing down Michael Chandler, being aggressive, getting him against the cage and hitting him there. Problem with that is we don't see Chandler really against the cage so often, because if he's going back, the dude will usually throw a lot of haymakers, make his opponent go backwards. But the thing with Conor McGregor is, like, he's such a good counter fighter. I think I could see him really countering Michael Chandler when he's trying to do that, because we see a guy like Poirier kind of just backed up and let it happen. But even Poirier, in one of those exchanges, we could see him noticeably see, oh, there's an opportunity for me to hit this guy, and he kind of smiles to himself. It's very, very hard to see in real time. And then we see at the end of the round, he counters Michael Chandler and drops him. And Conor's team, I mean, they study film. I know this. Conor's really good with countering. His mindset into fights are really, really calm, so it just helps him work better out there and pay attention more to patterns. So I think that's really problematic for Chandler, and I just think that chasing him down, it's a bit dangerous, because we saw Conor McGregor get caught by Dustin Poirier. It was like with a right hand, or maybe it was with the left hand, I don't remember, in that third fight. And we know that Conor has gotten hit with overhand rights, even against Khabib. So I think if Conor's gonna chase down Chandler, I think that just gives Chandler more of an opportunity opportunity to catch Conor and actually even knock him out. But I think if he's patient, going backwards like in the Eddie Alvarez fight, kind of pressing Chandler in a way that's making him go first. But for Chandler, I mean, he's got to put Conor against the fence. That's the game plan here. Just like how he did a Poirier and a lot of other people, he's got to come in with the pressure, which sounds crazy, pressing Conor McGregor, mixing in those takedowns, especially early on. Another thing is that Chandler, his striking just gets so poor after the first round. Like, his wrestling, okay, it's good, but especially at the end of that fight with Dustin Poirier in that first round, I mean, look, his hands are down, he's throwing combinations sloppy, his head movement becomes a little bit sloppy. So I think that Chandler's best shot is probably in the beginning of the fight. That's why I don't think it's out of the question that we're going to see a Chandler first round knockout. However, my prediction still stands. I think we're going to see Conor McGregor really beat Chandler. I think that even a boxing McGregor has the potential of beating Chandler. I just think that's a little bit more challenging, but I even think that does have a potential of beating Chandler. And I also have seen Conor recently compliment the boxing style and say there was a lot of good things about it. At the end of the day, Conor, you need to keep in that karate stand. That kind of helps mask his errors and his weaknesses as a fighter, and it helps hide that left hand. It helps his opponent go backwards, which will also help him land some of those boxing shots that he wants to land. So he has to really mix it up in this fight. I'm super excited. I hope this is the UFC 300 main event. I'm excited for the fight. I think it's a fun matchup. It's a really 50-50 fight. I think McGregor will probably win though, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What do you guys think of Conor McGregor's training footage? Am I looking too deep into things? Let me know in the comment section below. You guys are the best fan base at MMA. Thank you guys for watching it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.